We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi.
We are the empowered youth.
On air, underground.
And this is our podcast, the EY Podcast.
Turn it up. Let the speakers boom. Go.
Thank you for staying with the Youth and Leadership Show. And today we are privileged to have our guests with us in studio. Mr. Mohamud, thank you for making time and coming over. And Mr. Chris, thank you for making time. I will begin swiftly with just a brief introduction of who we are. Gentlemen, who are you, Mr. Mohamud? Just some 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I am Mohamud Sabuki Kidaha, a student from the Faculty of Environment and Resource Development, a student at the Department of Environmental Science, second year class rep from the Department of Environmental Science. Thank you.
Gentlemen, have you been a leader before, perhaps? Maybe tell us your history.
I've been a leader back way from primary school. I've been the scout commander at the primary school for 3 years. Coming to high school, I've been a leader at the Muslim Society. I've been the Muslim chairman at my high school.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohamud. Mr. Chris, today you've made way to be with us here. Who are you?
Thank you, Balozi. Okay, my name is Chris Keremi, a stroke 23, taking Bachelor of Science in Geography, and the current organizing secretary, EUSA, that is Geographical Society of Kenya, and yeah.
And perhaps have you, before coming here, before having the ambitions of being a congressperson, have you perhaps led in any position?
Yeah, in fact, in high school, I served as vice captain for 1 year.
You are the vice captain?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a class prefect from Form 2 to 3. That is 1 year. And now the current organizing secretary, that is Geographical Society of Egerton University.
To mean you people are not new in the leadership world?
Yeah.
Basically, gentlemen, let us take a quick one. Mr. Mohamud, what inspired you to run for the Congress position, FAD? And just tell us on that.
What inspired me to run for the Congress position FAD? I can say I've been a student, I've been a leader, I've been exposed to different ways and different methods of leadership back from primary school, and from the things I've seen in my faculty and the ideas I have in my mind, I am sure and I have the capability to run those ideas and help the faculty at large.
And Mr. Chris, why did you decide to run for the Congress position FAD? You stay perhaps in the diaspora. You didn't opt for that. You only opted for the Congress position, your faculty.
Yeah. Whatever inspired me is I believe that FAD required a united voice. That is so that to be united and to, I can just say, to...
And maybe, Mr. Mohamud, I know you have your goals and ambitions. You have the main objectives that you want to enact once elected. Can you just briefly share with us these objectives and goals?
Objectives and goals I have for my faculty. One, let me say, revival of the faculty clubs and associations. I know we have a lot of faculty clubs and associations. Like one is the leader for GSEU, we have ECOHA, and another one we have the Environmental Association, that is UA.
So Kiongozi, you want to revive a club in which he is a leader?
Yes, I believe that their clubs have been dormant for a while. We have UA, which has been a bit active, and we compliment them for that. GSEU and ECOHA has been a bit dormant, and I believe that with my leadership, we can revive ECOHA and GSEU.
Mr. Chris, what about you? We know you are eyeing for this position, Congress. And you have your goals, your ambitions, and the objectives that you want to enact to the let me say the electorates. So, basically, can you just tell us these goals?
Thank you, Balozi. Okay, my ambitions. The first of all is to need the faculty. In first case, the FAD members, most of them does not know each other, so I can just to nurture them and we have one common goal and we'll achieve together.
And Kiongozi, one of the major ambitions of Mr. Mohamud is reviving a club in which you are a leader. To mean it's dormant?
No, not yet. But
it is not yet dormant.
Yeah.
But it's on the way to being dormant.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. so, Mr. Mohamud, we will take proceeds here. How do you plan to strengthen these associations that you are saying are dormant? How do you plan to revive them?
My plans, according to me, I can say exposure. Exposing the first years to these clubs and associations. These clubs and associations have been formed way back, and those who formed them have left us. Exposure to the students will lead them to be among the association and clubs. If we have a lot of members who are active, when you introduce the first years during the orientation to these clubs and associations, I am sure and I believe that they will have the idea on what is going on in our faculty. You may have first years, you have oriented them, you have not introduced them to these faculty, clubs and associations. That means they have no idea on what is going on in our faculty.
And basically, just tell us, how do these clubs help the common students in your faculty?
These clubs have a lot of benefits. First of all, let me say, through participation, there are a lot of things. From our faculty, we deal with environment and research development. Through these clubs and associations, students will be able to do what has brought them to this school, improvement of the environment. Through these clubs, they'll be able to plant trees. They'll be able to spread awareness on what is going on in the environment in this world. And I believe that when you expose them in the right manner, they'll be able to participate and appreciate. Thank you.
Kiongozi, you have been a leader in the Geographical Association.
Yeah.
What are these benefits that you gave to the students? That they will attest as you are leaving office, perhaps you are moving to a higher level as a Congress. What are these benefits that you are leaving them with?
First of all, I can just tell that those clubs are helping us so much. First of all, our skills. We get the skills from there, like maybe involving in tree planting events and other co-curricular activities that we have tried and engaged to. And maybe I can just say exposure. Yeah, we have just visited many places, and whatever I can just say, yeah, it's wonderful.
Viongozi, you've both talked of the exposure aspect of this. What do you mean by this term exposure, Mr. Chris?
Exposure is where we get to know again some new skills that impact us both individually and academically, and most of these skills, they impact us on our studies. Like our courses, most of our courses in our faculty are very practical. So, as we get these skills, they impact us so much. Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Mohamud? You talked about the exposure widely.
When I mean exposure, I want to talk about our main causes at large. We have come here for the purpose of environment. We have lectures. We have a lot of classes. Not only the theoretical part. These clubs and associations will help us be exposed to the practical part. Tree planting, spread of awareness about the environment, and helping people in conservation of the environment.
Viongozi, you have outlined the benefits that these associations will bring to the club members, right? So what about these students who will not be boarding the club vehicle? What benefit will they get from these associations that you are almost reviving?
The students, let me say, that are not boarding the vehicles. First of all, we have, let me say, chance for every student, regardless of the faculty you come from. Whether you come from Faculty of Health Science or any other faculty, you have the chance to participate in our events. in environmental association, we have different faculties spreading awareness together with us. Let me say, for example, we have Faculty of Agriculture Student Association. They are in collaboration with the Faculty of Environment, EUSA, that is EUSA Association. Through this, I know and I believe that we will spread awareness more and more. Yeah.
Mr. Chris, you assume office, your first day in office, your first week in office. What are these initiatives you're going to put in place?
First of all, I can just say our clubs lacks that support. That is by actively engagement funds from the faculty. So, as a congressman, I will ensure that I've advocated for all this so that our clubs, we can just uplift them, yeah, and market them, yeah.
What about you, Mr. Mohammed? You are in office, your first week in office. What are these initiatives you are going to enact, and how are you going to enact them?
My initiative, let me say, first of all, like I've said, spread awareness across media, across the student body, and tell people on what we deal with, what this environmental association deals with, what these clubs and associations do, and what the benefits that comes with this. Yeah.
So it will be only sensitization, there will be no action?
No, there will be action, but first of all, you can't do an action that no one knows. You can't do something that no one knows. You have to spread awareness.
In your manifesto, you already are keeping them aware with your manifesto.
Yeah. The manifesto is to help them elect me. That's why I've put them in my manifesto. You first spread the awareness, let them know what is going on, then they can come and participate through joining. Yeah.
Okay, Viongozi. So basically, we are all in the quest of the leadership position. Perhaps, Mohammed, today you are approached and told, Mr. Mohammed, kindly, just drop this position for Mr. Chris. And you have your comrades at heart. Are you willing to do this?
No, I'm not willing.
Why?
I have the ambitions to lead faculty of FAD at large and revive a lot of things at my faculty.
What about you, Mr. Chris? The vice versa, you have Purity on board, you have Mohammed here on board. How are you going to approach that on the event you are approached with that proposal?
No. It can't be possible. You know, my first ambition is to unite the faculty and ensure we have one common voice. So, to me, that is very relevant.
Basically, in your manifestos, you talked about the academic trips. We know that the catalogs and the department design academic trips basically at the end of every unit or at a specific time of that semester. What makes you feel like where they were designed, it's wrongly designed, and that you have the academic trips as part of your manifestos? You'll take the first round, Mr. Mohammed.
For me, I believe the catalogs are not designed wrongly. Those who design these catalogs are professionals. They are the professors. Do you understand me? So one thing I can say is proper communication, early communication. You don't wait for the catalogs to be out so that you can communicate on advancement of trips and excursions. Proper communication, early communication to the CODs and the departments will help them during provision of those catalogs, and during making of those catalogs, they design them early so that they can inject those.
Okay, basically, Mr. Chris, what is your take on the said academic trips issue that he is responding to?
You know, first of all, I can just say the faculty administration lacks commitment. That is, they can just enact, and they can decide that they put maybe a trip, and when you approach the lecturer, that you are a reader, and he can just say that maybe he has set up, he has got some other involvement. So that to us does not look possible.
So this particular lecturer is just engaged when you give the proposal of the academic trip?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds funny and weird. Okay, at times.
Yeah.
Okay, so this now begs my question, because in your manifestos you all have the academic trips on board. What key factors do you believe? Let me put it this way: how do you think the academic trips benefit the students?
For me, the academic trips will benefit the students in a very large way. Let me say the theoretical part the lecturers provide them. We need the practical part. This is an environment. We deal with the environment. And to be able to be exposed to the practical part, we need to go for trips and excursions. For example, the geography students, they learn all about the landmarks and everything. If you teach them in class, they need to be exposed to these geographical features outside there. And for this to be possible, they have to go for trips and excursions out there.
Mr. Chris, what are the key factors that you believe will make academic trips beneficial to all the departments?
Key factors to me, I can just say the first one is networking. Networking and exposure. When you go there outside, you go to interact with some individuals, very professional. So, as you interact with this, maybe you can get some networks. After you have done with our 4-year course, they can just link up with some courses. Yeah.
And how do you plan to advocate for the exposure part you talked about?
Exposure. Yeah. That is by going to field trips.
By going to field trips?
Yeah. We can just be exposed to very much activities there outside and meet very professional people.
How will you also advocate for the side? What you said? What you talked for?
What I've talked about, let me say, I can advocate for them through, let me say, communication and increased trips and, let me say, mentorship from those professionals we meet out there. Yeah.
We talked about computer repairs in our manifesto. And that is Mr. Mohammed Sabuki. And he basically, to be specific, he was talking about you going to lobby for the computer repairs to enhance effective GIS study. This begs my question to you, Mr. Sabuki. How do you propose addressing the issue of computer repairs to enhancing effective GIS study?
That has been my manifesto because of my experience. I have taken Geography 204, which is all about geography and GIS. And let me say, we have only learned the theoretical part. I've been in class for the whole semester. I've never been exposed to any practical part of the GIS. That's why I want to lobby for the repair and enhancement of GIS.
Did you have a class rep?
I am the class rep.
You are the class rep?
Yes.
Did you report it to somewhere different?
Yes.
Actions taken?
No.
Basically, now that actions were not taken while you are the class rep, now you believe as a Congress action will be taken?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, and what resources or support do you believe are necessary for this?
The resources, let me say, first of all, as the Congress, my work is to report to the Dean and the responsible department. Consistency in reporting. You might report, but the effectiveness of your report may not be heard. The voice might not be heard. I believe with a voice, with a powerful voice, you can be heard. This has been going on and on. So I believe when I'm the Congress and consistency in, let me say, consistency in communication with the departments and the respective lecturers, I believe that everything will be okay and the GIS study will be effective.
Mr. Chris Kirimi, in your manifesto number 5, you stated clearly that you are lobbying for competent student leadership and proper representation in EUSA Parliament. As per the EUSA Constitution, that is one of your mandates. It is just like an MP undertaking the construction of roads in his constituency. That is one of his mandates, not a priority or a privilege he's doing to his constituents. So, is this your responsibility, or how do you plan to go about this?
You know, most of the students there outside, they just hate EUSA. Yeah, they say when someone is elected, maybe is irrelevant, does not make sense. So, my ambition to that representation, or competent representation, I want to ensure that their issues are properly addressed and very taken care of. Yeah.
Okay. To you, Mr. Mohammed, yes. We have the needy students within the institution, and we have the EUSA bursaries and the work studies. And specifically in your manifesto, you have the issuance of meal cards on time. How is a Congress and meal cards related?
On my issue on meal cards, let me say, through our faculty. Our faculty has a welfare association, which has faculty meal cards. I'm talking about my faculty meal cards.
But Kiongozi, you said that you earlier on said that your faculty associations are dormant and they are dead.
I've talked about FADWA. GEOSEU and ECOHA are the dormant associations here.
Okay, what about that?
Let me say, for example, FADWA, issuance of meal cards on time. For example, during this time of delayment of help disbursement, there's no need you wait for the last week of the semester to give out the meal cards. You can use this opportunity where the helps loans have been disbursed late. You can give the students those loans, those meal cards to help them in these times of the delayment of disbursement of help loans.
Kiongozi, do you really feel like the meal cards issue is a pressing issue in your faculty?
Not yet, but maybe during exam time, there is a need to advocate for that.
And how are you going to ensure that this is well lobbied for?
That is, I will just have a very well linked network within the SGC, that is the Director Welfare, who in most of the cases are in the issuance of those meal cans.
Okay, basically, I know that needs proper coordination between you and the SGC members.
Yeah.
And so, how do you plan to engage your faculty members as a connection and as a link to the SGC members?
As a faculty representative, I will work closely with class reps, that is to get the total number of the students suffering, and maybe you can issue them to the Director of Finance, that is the SGC, yeah, to cater for that.
Mr. Mohamud, how are you planning to engage with faculty members and students to ensure that their voices and concerns are heard and addressed during your tenure as a Congress in FAD?
Okay, through that, let me say, is working closely with their representatives. Each class has a representative, that is the class rep. Working closely with the class rep will ensure that you get the really needy students instead of just giving out the meal cards by the Congress himself. You work with the class reps, they identify the needy students because they are close, they are the ones who are close with their students. When you work with the class reps, they are able to identify the really needy students, and through that, you'll be able to issue the meal cards in the correct way. And
okay, basically, Viongozi, we are going to take a general question here. And we are here talking about the student leadership. Just a quick one, Mr. Chris, what is your understanding, basically, of a student leader?
A student leader, from my own humble opinion, I can just say, is the one who is responsible to voice to raise the voice of the comrades. Yeah, that's the students.
And what qualities do you believe are essential for effective student representation?
That is having a better communication skills, a good link between you and the student to represent, and then you act friendly. Yeah.
Mr. Mohamud, on the same, who is a student leader?
a student leader, for me, I can say, is a representative of the students at large. Is the umbrella representative of the students at large, yeah.
And the qualities?
The qualities of a good student leader, I can say, is someone who can properly communicate. One who can communicate properly, constant communication. Someone who can raise issues consistently. Someone who is competent. Someone who listens to the students and their issues, yeah.
And this brings us to the question, can you basically, Mr. Mohamud, share any specific examples of successful initiatives or projects you completed while a student leader?
A student leader, if I may ask, here at Egerton or outside Egerton?
As a class rep, in the other capacities?
As a class rep, let me say, for my class, as a student leader, I can say through proper communication and constant communication, I can say we have been a good class. Our things have been flowing goodly because of the proper communication and constant communication with the lecturers and other student bodies.
Mr. Vice President, you were once.
Yes.
Maybe share with us some specific examples of your successful initiatives or projects that you were part of in the past.
Oh, in the past, maybe I can just use the example of GeoSeu because we are many. They can prove it. So when we first entered office, that is the Geographical Society of Egerton University, our first ambition was to plant more trees. That is within their compound, I think compound 3. Yeah, there, Botanical Gardens. So we managed, and the other ambition is the issuance of T-shirts within and marketing our club. That is, our accomplishment.
And basically, how do you believe that these initiatives positively impacted the faculty or the student body at large?
Some of them, maybe I can just use a simpler one, adventure. Many of the students, they are, maybe in the weekends, they are very dormant there in the hostels, so we managed to take them there. They can just, adventure. Yeah.
Mr. Mohammed,
Yes.
how did your initiatives positively impact the student body and the faculty at large?
Let me say my initiatives that has impacted. I can say through constant communication, there has been a smooth flow of communication back way from the students to the school administration at large.
And basically, as we make progress, gentlemen, maybe as a leader you faced challenges. What are some of these challenges you faced so far, and how did you address them, Mr. Mohammed?
The challenges I faced is, let me say, communication. Constant communication has, how I've overcome those challenges is through constant communication. Yeah.
And which are these challenges? Once again.
The challenges, let me say, for example, when you have an issue and you raise it and it's not dealt with, you constantly communicate and you are able to be heard.
It's your take, Mr. Kirimi.
Yes. Okay, the challenges we have managed to face as a leader, I myself, the first of all I can just say is lack of commitment. That is, when we arrange some meeting with our members or maybe an event, some of them don't show up. That is very crucial part as we need to be very punctual in whatever we do. Yeah. The other thing is maybe we face some harassment from students within the faculty. So the solution to that is listening to everyone's advice, their individual challenges, and address them properly.
Yeah. Gentlemen, we are having a very interactive session here, and we are here basically talking about your constituents, the FAD fraternity. And we're learning how, if as you assume office, you are going to better the status of the faculty. We are going for a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we are back, keep sending your questions at Kwelib TV. We'll get them answered, addressed, and we'll get every stone unturned. We're heading from a...
We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi.
We are the empowered youth.
On air, underground.
And this is our podcast, the EUI Podcast.
Turn it up. Let the speakers boom. Go.
I want to recommend very highly Koilib to every youth out there who has an idea that they want to bring on board. This is a place where you'll be incubated, so to say. You, irrespective of how rugged you feel your idea is, you come to this place and we will continuously work on you to make sure that the idea that you have is refined and at least you become the person.
Koilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
at Coilib you have access to mentors, you have access to people that your peers, basically, the people that you're working with, and there's nothing as important as working with a group of people who are doing the same thing, because then you're able to motivate each other, and help each other grow.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
I want to recommend very highly Coilib to every youth out there who has an idea that they want to bring on board. This is a place where you'll be incubated, so to say. Irrespective of how rugged you feel your idea is, you come to this place and we will continuously work on you to make sure that the idea that you have is refined and at least you become the person.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
My name is Jacinta Kariuki of MDF Training and Consultancy. I'm currently at Egerton University in Joro, facilitating a session on curriculum development and modern learning for the University of Juba. And this is under the NUFIC Orange Knowledge Program titled New Horizon Food Security.
I'm really very happy and delighted to be in this training because I joined the research development group, and then there I have learned a lot of things, especially it strengthened my knowledge as a lecturer in research procedure, how to carry out the research, and then how to evaluate it or disseminate the data for users in order to be useful to the community.
Because once you have the assessment, you have the learning task, now you can easily come up with what kind of practicals you need. And then from that practicals, what kind of lectures.
We went through all the research tools, methods, and we finally worked on how to collect data. There are tools for collecting data. One of the most new thing that we learned is the digital collection of data. we use some tools which we didn't have previously. Things like infographs, which is you have a very small research project, and the findings you put it in a compact way, which is easy for any lay person to understand. You have the percentage and you have this. It's very clear, not like the the academic way of presenting results.
And the course itself was so interesting. The workshop itself was so interesting. What stood out for me in that workshop about curriculum development,
at least to make it having a good impact.
You mean to say that the only target of the crops that you're taking from here, you take only to the supermarket, you don't take to the other sources of the market?
It's not that I can't sell to the other people, but you see, we are in business. So whoever pays well, we sell to them.
They gave us what we don't know. So we hope that if we go back, we're able to replicate what we've learned here.
Thank you and welcome back to the show, Youth and Leadership. And we're here with our guests, Mr. Mohamud and Mr. Chris. Basically, we are taking on with the discussion and the conversation revolving the youths and the leadership aspect in the universities. Basically, I'll take it and an opportunity to give each and every one of us maybe to give us their manifestos, just in a broader aspect. Tell us what you plan to do for your constituents. Mr. Chris, you take the first lead.
Okay, my agendas. Let me just start by saying the first agenda is just to unify the faculty. The second agenda is advocating for mentorship programs. That is to ensure everyone knows his or her course, individual members within the faculty, what he will pursue when he gets out of this world-class university. The third agenda is exposure to available opportunities within the faculty. Because FAD, most of the courses we take are very practical, so they need exposure. And the fourth manifesto is competent representation of students in EUSA Parliament. I will just address your issues and we will get to solve everything. Yeah.
Okay, basically, Mr. Mohamud, again, in the shortest time possible, give us your manifestos.
For me, my manifestos, let me begin with proper representation of my students at large in the parliament and at the departmental and faculty level. Second is maybe let me say practicality in my faculty, exposure to practicality in different areas of study in my faculty. That one, let me say, repair of those sectors like GIS study for practicality also, and to gain the knowledge and to gain the practicality part of it.
Okay, Mr. Chris, if you have something to add.
Yeah. To the manifesto, I can just say I have the agenda to constantly follow up the missing mark. That is with students, so that we can get to get rid of receipts and most retics. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, for me, on issue on missing marks, let me say, I'll begin with educating of the students. The missing marks begin with students failing to do their CATs, their online CATs, attending classes. First of all, I'll begin with educating the students on the importance of doing all their CATs and their exams. Secondly, when a student has done all their duties, it comes to the lecturers, the submission of the results. I'll follow up with the lecturers, make sure they submit the results in the speculated time to avoid the missing marks and everything. Yeah.
Basically, you have talked about following up with the lecturers to release the results. What is this stipulated time that results are released in the institution?
For the time, let me say the time they are given, the lecturers are given a speculated time. For example, during the long holidays, I know they are given like 4 weeks or so to submit the results to the ARMS. And one way I can say I can follow up with the results to the lecturers is when the lecturers don't have the marks for all the students, make sure that you take the transcript, not the transcript, but the papers, the question papers, the marked papers to the lecturers so that they can be recorded and everything will be fine.
And in basic, okay.
Okay, Balozi, to the missing mark, you know, Article 38 of the Constitution of EUSA, the congressperson, that is faculty congressperson, does not have the mandate to deal with any transcript. So I will ask Mohamud, how will he just do that?
Okay, on my side, I'll say I don't deal with transcripts. I have said I make sure that the lecturers, for example, a lecturer might call me and tell me a student from your class does not have this and this results for the CAT 1. That will lead to the missing marks, right? What I'll do is I'll follow up with the students, make sure that they give me their marks, submit to the lecturer so that the lecturer can key in their marks, yeah.
And do you believe you as a Congress, you have powers over missing marks or the transcripts?
No, I don't have the powers over missing marks and transcripts.
What of you, Mr. Chris?
Whatever I was just saying is the missing mark. That is constantly follow up with the student and liaise with the lecturer. The lecturer involved with the unit.
What about the transcript?
No, I didn't include.
You talked about the transcript. Do you believe that the Congress has direct link or contact with the transcript? You talked about the timely release of the transcripts.
No, I've not talked about the timely release of the transcripts.
Results are transcripts?
Results. I've not talked about the timely release of the results. I've said keying of the results.
Keying in of the results.
Keying of the results, yeah.
In the time immemorial, has there been a time that a lecturer maybe has maybe complained to you of the delayed release, keying in of the results in the ARMS?
No.
But then you are talking about it?
I've talked about it because the lecturer, as a class rep, I've had a lecturer call me telling me that I will need to submit the results. But this and this student has not submit, I don't have the marks for this student for CAT 1. And yet, the lecturer has returned the CAT papers. So I'll have to follow up with the student, get his CAT paper, bring to the lecturer so that the lecturer can key in the results, yeah.
Okay, basically we're making a good move. Mr. Chris, broadly, you talk about your manifesto.
Yeah.
And use this opportunity and the platform to campaign and tell your constituents what you'll do for them once you're elected.
When I'll be the third Congress, that is on 14th in the early morning. So the first agenda, I will just unite the faculty at large. Many of our members, they doesn't know each other. That is for sure. Like,
Ngozi, is the elections being done on 14th or 13th?
13th. That is announcement. After announcement.
Oh, after announcement?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is just to impact the field trips and tournaments. That is, you can just do, this is very simple. I can do this by just putting a tournament. That is interdepartmental tournament on where we showcase our talent, and for sure we can also get to deal with the header members of our faculty. Yeah, because they will join us and share some great moments together.
We have a docket in the SGC that deals with the sports and co-curricular activities. Basically, how are you talking about the tournaments and the ball games? How are you going to do this without including them?
I will work.
I mean the office of the SGC that specifically deals with the sporting activities and the extra co-curricular activities.
I can just deal with the direct agenda and co-curricular activities. That is, we can just sponsor the tournament with some amount of money, yeah, and everything shall be well.
What's your take on the same about the extracurricular activities, Kiongozi?
For me, for the extracurricular activities, let me say, first of all, when I'll be elected, 13th in the evening, I'll be the Congress. For me, I'll begin on 13th in the evening, 5 p.m. And let me say, in one of my agendas, I want to create a club that is specifically meant for the co-curricular activities. For example, we have EUSA that deals with the tree planting and everything. So mine, I want to create a club that deals with co-curricular activities, whereby we have a platform. Each department has their own, let me say, football teams, ladies, gents. We include gents, gender balance, and through that, through the club, and make sure that the club is active. That way I'll be able to make sure that the co-curricular activities are catered for, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chris.
Honorable Sabuki, can you explain your point on the club?
On the club, let me say.
I was the moderator, Mr. Chris. You pass through me. You don't directly attack him. Okay. Anyway, Mr.
Okay, let me answer him. On the co-curricular activities, I've mentioned the club. Chris, I'll create a club with leaders, with representatives from each department that will be able to, through these representatives, will be able to coordinate and form teams from each department, work together, and in case we need something, we work with the gender and co-curricular congress person. Thank you.
We are still with you, Mr. Mohamud, close to me here.
Yes.
We have the basic stringents and the rules that go hand in hand. Let me say with the clubs. How will you ensure after forming the club, what process will you use without involving the SGC?
No, the clubs, I'll first of all liaise with my dean of the faculty, because it starts at the faculty, right? Through the dean, I'm sure I'll be able to form the club, yeah. Through the dean, assistance from the dean, communication with the dean, I'll be able to form the faculty, the club, yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chris, it's your turn with the club's issue.
Honestly speaking, talking of the club, that is very irrelevant. He can just educate him and tell him that he can just use a simpler term. He form an interdepartmental team. That is, for example, he is from environmental science. He can just have 15 players from his department. Then ecotourism, he can have other 15 players. Yeah, and just form an interdepartmental team.
Okay, 1 minute on what you have said. You have said you'll be able to form tournaments, right? These tournaments, how will you organize these tournaments without coordination with the leaders? On my side, I've said there'll be representative from each department, will form a club, right? On your side, how will you be able to form and run the tournament without representation from each department? Tell me.
I said earlier, Mr. Mohamud, if you are keen, I told you that I will work keenly and closely with the director co-curricular activities and gender.
But this issue begins right from the department.
Gentlemen, let us put the focus. It is getting fine. Basically, we're going back to Mr. Mohamud Sabuki.
Yes.
You talked about encouraging workshops and seminars.
Yes.
How are you going to do this?
Workshop and seminars. Let me say, we have a lot of organizations out there that have their own workshops and seminars, and they need students, they involve students. When I'll be the Congress, I'll be able to link those organizations out there with the students at my faculty and create those workshops and seminars. Yeah.
Okay. On the same vein, Mr. Chris Kirimi, your first manifesto is unifying the faculty, and you've stipulated clearly that you want to work in unity with the class reps and faculty administration. How are you going to ensure that this takes place effectively with no bias?
You know, when you liaise with the dean, in whatever the challenges the faculty is facing, when you liaise with the dean, the class representatives, and also the faculty members, that is by holding some regular meetings and surveys, yeah, we can just address the issue, Mr. Balozi.
Okay, we are going to the questions and answer session, and we are going to get the questions from the audience that have been keying in, and I'll begin the general questions per se. There's a question here asking, what are your main goals and objectives if elected as Congress in the faculty?
My main goal, as I said earlier, is to unite the faculty and have one voice in common. Yeah.
My aim at large, let me say, is to revive the faculty at large and provide a proper representation of the faculty.
Mr. Balozi.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Mahmoud has said
No, you used me kindly. This is my show. I control the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next question is, what measures would you implement to ensure academic integrity and support student access in the faculty?
That issue, we can just address it by working closely with class reps to address the academic challenges that they are facing. And with these challenges, enable them, we can just go and liaise with the faculty administration, and solve them.
Okay, we are moving on to the next question. How do you plan to engage, this is anonymous, how do you plan to engage with the broader university community, including faculty and staff, to address shared concerns and work towards a common goal?
Okay, I can say for someone like me who is on the media, who is outside there, I've seen various organizations advertise their work and need for collaboration with students and institutions like universities. So through this that I've seen online, I'm sure I'll be able to link them together with the university at my students at the university. Yeah.
Your take, Mr. Chris?
As for me, I've been involved in many activities and club association. That is, I've worked with EUSA, so we have partnered with the Egerton University Environmental Associations. So we have many projects together. So by, like UAR, it's just overall students are involved there. Yeah, we can just link up there and share and have a common goal, which we need to achieve together.
Okay, you have something to add? We are moving on to the next question. How do you plan to allocate resources and funding to support student organizations and extracurricular activities, considering the fact that both of you talked about it?
Okay, on my side, I'll talk about the FADWA at large. I talked about exposure of the students during the orientation to the FADWA executive, right? FADWA is an organization or an association where the students from my faculty contribute, let's say, 100 shillings per semester. And when these funds will be utilized, I believe that we can cater for the extracurricular activities. Yeah, thank you.
Your take on the same?
We can solve this by just active involvement and maybe support, like funds. Yeah.
Okay, basically, we are getting to the close of the discussion. And I'll give each and everyone time, basically as we close, to give us maybe his remarks with regards to the faculty aspiration, the Congress position. You'll take the first round, Mr. Muhammad, and take your time.
Okay, for me, for my faculty, I believe Mohamud is the right person to revive and help the faculty at large and provide a proper representation. To the students out there, I urge you guys, vote Mohamud come 13th, 8 a.m. We have finished voting, and Mohamud elect 13th on February, 5 p.m. Mohamud will be announced, and we will be able to work together and provide a proper representation. Thank you.
What about you, Mr. Chris Kidimi? Your final take?
I urge you, every FAD member, the FAD fraternity deserves a leader who is very decisive. That is in his all actions. That is, I can just tell you that by electing me, we'll just advocate and achieve many projects together. I urge you, everybody, let's stay united, stronger, and for sure everything shall be well.
A final call of work to your, let me say, your supporters.
My supporters out there, I urge you, register. For those who have registered, verify, set your password, wait for February 13th, 8 a.m. We'll have finished voting. Thank you.
Okay, finally.
My able supporters, what I can just say is God bless you, God bless FAD, God bless Egerton University, and the victory we shall celebrate together. That is come 13 in the evening. We shall win. Yeah, and it's a compulsory.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. And I like how optimistic we are with the ambition. And I know that we both have comrades at heart. We have our lecturers at heart. Yeah. And basically, as we come to the end of the show, I want to thank you once again, Mr. Mohamud. Thank you for making time to be with us here. Mr. Kirimi, thank you for making time too. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the Youth and Leadership Show, and we were with our guests, Mr. Mohamud here and Mr. Kirimi, and we had them talk diversely about different issues, and they addressed us about their manifestos and their ambitions and what they are planning to do for the comrades. Ladies and gentlemen, till next time, I was your host, Dickens Omolo. Till next time.
My name is Jacinta Kariuki of MDF Training and Consultancy. I'm currently at Egerton University in Njoro, facilitating a session on curriculum development and modern learning for the University of Juba. And this is under the NUFIC Orange Knowledge Program titled New Horizon Food Security.
I'm really very happy and delighted to be in this training because I joined the research development group, and then there I have learned a lot of things, especially it strengthened my knowledge as a lecturer in research procedure, how to carry out the research, and then how to evaluate it or disseminate the data for users in order to be useful to the community.
Because once you have the assessment, you have the learning task, now you can easily come up with what kind of practicals do you need. And then from that practicals, what kind of lectures.
We went through all the research tools, methods, and we finally worked on how to collect data. There are tools for collecting data. One of the most new thing that we learned is the digital collection of data. We use some tools which we didn't have previously. Things like infographs, which is you have a very small research project, and the findings you put it in a compact way, which is easy for any lay person to understand. You have the percentage and you have this, it's very clear, not like the professional, the academic way of presenting results.
And the course itself was so interesting, the workshop itself was so interesting. What stood out for me in that workshop about curriculum development was about how to, that there are two types of curriculum. There is the traditional one, and then there is this competency-based curriculum.
What we are here to do, we all know, is curricular development review and modern learning. And it's a new field.
As for the whole exposure visit to Egerton, I actually found that there are certain gaps that we were missing, particularly in our educational system, which was mostly traditional, and that require actually competent base at least to make it having a good impact.
You mean to say that the only target of the crops that you are taking from here, you take only to the supermarket, you don't take to the other sources of the market?
It's not that I can't sell to the other people, but you see, we are in business. So whoever pays well, we sell to them.
They gave us what we don't know. So we hope that if we go back, we're able to replicate what we've learned here.
Still, almost 1 billion people doesn't have proper access to safe water. People have to go very far to get it, and the poor often pay a very high price for it. Why is this? What are the solutions?
I'm the founder and managing director of Maji Milele, a social enterprise with a mission to make access to safe water much more sustainable. We have a range of prepaid water metering solutions, both for kiosks, for communal water points, as well as for individual connections. All these meters can be smart, meaning you have online data, you can control them remotely. And revenue collection is all via mobile payment, so financial management is dealt with.
In the informal settlements, we have several models of supply, and one of the models is the prepaid dispensers. We have a contract with them for supply of 800 units of the same, and in the process of installing, so far we've installed roughly 120, but we are still proceeding in installation of the same. The system has its advantages in the sense that it makes it very easy for revenue collection, since it is automated. The customer just buys a token, which he is able to dispense at the site with the BBDS, and then uses the token, and the money is subtracted automatically, and we get the revenue, so there is no idea of following up people to get the funds from the field. We are able to see the dashboard, which gives us all the parameters that we need. In terms of volumes, I'm able to see the volumes that they are sold. I'm able to see the amount of money collected. So it's a good system. It's also assisting us in combating or reducing the revenue water in the informal settlement, which is a big challenge.
Unajua, hii maji iko bei ya chini. So watu wote wanakuja hapa unapewa token. Such that unaenda unafungua wakati wote. Hata maji kikuizia hata usiku wewe unakuja tu. Unachota maji yako na unaenda. Hakuna mwenye utaweza kuta ati ana kifunguo, ati vaza acha amuka. Watu wako tu sawa na hii maji. Kama ikiwezekana mtuongezee hii maji tena.
We are very happy to have a partnership between us and Maji Milele. We are happy because of the reception that the customers have taken to this new and very innovative method of providing the water services through the kiosks that eliminates any form of human interaction in terms of providing the service. And it's also affordable in comparison with the initial cost of investment for this particular technology. They do not match. So it is more of a corporate social responsibility in as far as the water utility is concerned, and also complying with the constitutional mandate where we are required to provide this service as a right from our customers.
Lakini hawa wanatusaidia sana. Alafu tukasaidika sana juu ukiwa na hata 20 utaweza weka maji yako na ukunywa. Hata kama ni saa 6 ya usiku unakuja, unaona una maji, unakuja kuchota. Juu hakuna mtu unauliza. Ni kadude yako au tu unachukua unakuja unachota maji.
So this is generally a prepaid token purchase system whereby we purchase tokens which are then entered into the meter box to be able to dispense water to our customers. This is a really great system for starters because it really controls your outflow and you can also be able to monitor the income. Because as opposed to the manual system whereby the borehole is run manually, that gives leeway for the people manning the borehole to steal. Now with this prepaid token meter system, you're able to actually monitor the income, the flow of cars, because there is no way they can be able to sell or enter tokens without you actually generating it for them. This system reduces the non-revenue water because there is very minimal spillages. And what usually happens, as soon as you key in the token number generated from your app, it opens the valve for the water supply to start filling in the tanks. And as soon as the specific token is used up, it automatically closes the valve, making sure there is no wastage of water.
That was one of the reasons that we went particularly with this type of prepaid metering system, is because you're able to distribute to the community different types of water. So the predominant amount of water that we sell comes out as raw water, but we wanted to give access to the community to pure water. So we've made 2 taps for this site to be raw water, and then we have one site that's going to be pure treated water for the community to access for cooking and drinking, and the other 2 are for cleaning. They can be for watering in the shamba, and they can also be used for washing of their clothes. So one we offer at 5 shillings per 20 liters, and the other one for pure water is offered at 10 shillings per 20 liters.
Regarding the future, I'm actually very optimistic for access to safe water for everybody. The prepaid meters are going to play a role because now more and more also the individual prepaid meters, they're becoming smart, meaning there is much more control by the water service providers on what is happening on the ground. That is actually a very positive development.
My name is Jacinta Kariuki of MDF Training and Consultancy. I'm currently at Egerton University in Joro, facilitating a session on curriculum development and modern learning for the University of Juba. And this is under the NUFIC Orange Knowledge Program titled New Horizon Food Security.
I'm really very happy and delighted to be in this training because I joined the research development group, and then there I have learned a lot of things, especially it strengthened my knowledge as a lecturer in research procedure, how to carry out the research, and then how to evaluate it, or disseminate the data for users in order to be useful to the committee.
Because once you have the assessment, you have the learning task, now you can easily come up with what kind of practicals do you need. And then from that practicals, what kind of lectures.
We went through all the research tools, methods, and we finally worked on how to collect data. There are tools for collecting data. One of the most new things that we learned is the digital collection of data. We use some tools which we didn't have previously. Things like infographs, which is you have a very small research project, and the findings you put it in a compact way, which is easy for any lay person to understand. You have the percentage and you have this. It's very clear, not like the professional, the academic way of presenting results.
And the course itself was so interesting. The workshop itself was so interesting. What stood out for me in that workshop about curriculum development was about how to, that there are two types of curriculum. There is the traditional one, and then there is this competency-based curriculum.
What we are here to do, we all know, is curricular development review and modern learning. And it's a significant.
As for the whole exposure visit to Egerton, I actually found that there are certain gaps that we were missing, particularly in our educational system, which was mostly traditional, and that require actually competent base at least to make it having a good impact.
You mean to say that the only target of the crops that you're taking from here, you take only to the supermarket, you don't take to the other sources of the market?
It's not that I can't sell to the other people, but you see, we are in business. So whoever pays well, we sell to them.
They gave us what we don't know. So we hope that if we go back, we're able to replicate what we've learned here.
At Koilib, you have access to mentors, you have access to people that your peers, basically, the people that you're working with, and there's nothing as important as working with a group of people who are doing the same thing, because then you're able to motivate each other, and help each other grow.
Koilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
I can describe Koilib as a hub of fast knowledge, a place where we can find resources, and a place where we can find mentorship. I can recommend this to the young youth who are upcoming to gain skills and entrepreneurial knowledge.
Koilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
The mentorship program that we've been taken through, we've been able to solve some of the challenges we had as an enterprise, by able to structure our organization. I could recommend to any youths out there who are having an idea on any enterprise that they would want to venture in, or even if they have started, they can be able to be journeyed through the remaining, that is maybe growth, and they achieve their goals.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate.
I can describe Coilib as a safe incubator. So I would encourage everyone to apply, and for sure, I'm certain your ideas will be in safe hands, and they will hatch successfully to better businesses.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
I want to recommend very highly Coilib to every youth out there who has an idea that they want to bring on board. This is a place where you'll be incubated, so to say. You, irrespective of how rugged you feel your idea is, you come to this place and we will continuously work on you to make sure that the idea that you have is refined and at least you become the person.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi. We are the empowered youth.
Underground. And this is our podcast, the EY Podcast.
Let the speakers move. Go.
At Coilib, you have access to mentors, you have access to people that your peers, basically, the people that you're working with, and there's nothing as important as working with a group of people who are doing the same thing, because then you're able to motivate each other, and help each other grow.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
I want to recommend very highly Coilib to every youth out there who has an idea that they want to bring on board. This is a place where you'll be incubated, so to say. You, irrespective of how rugged you feel your idea is, you come to this place and we will continuously work on you to make sure that the idea that you have is refined and at least you become the person.
Coilib Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
Thank you for staying with us in the Youth and Leadership Show. And I'm privileged to have with us today distinguished fellows, clericists, and guests with us here. And I'll begin with Mr. Sami. Thank you for making time. Thank you for leaving your busy schedule and making it to studio. Mr. Alejandro, thank you for also making time. And finally, Mr. James, thank you for making time. Basically, in your positions, you are 6. And out of the 6 positions, the 3 of you saw it wise to make it to the studio. Let us believe that the others will be joining us soon, or let us believe. So I'll quickly move to Mr. Sami over here. Mr. Sami has served as a former Congress, Riverview, and Mamangina. You've also served as a former Christian Medical Fellowship Chair. Mr. Alejandro has been a deputy captain, deputy president Maranda High School, and also a president in his primary school. Finally, Mr. James, who has served as a house captain in his high school, and as an outgoing academic advisor, Clinical Medicine Student Association. So, gentlemen, I'll give each of us maybe a second or so to tell us who they are. Who are you, Mr. Sami?
Thank you so much, Balozi. First of all, my name is Sami Rudet Sena. I'm the aspiring Congress for the Faculty of Health Sciences. I'm an enthusiastic, determined, competent, and experienced student leader, having served in various capacities in the university, not to mention the position I served in high school, because perhaps they may not be relevant in addressing the issues of our university or our faculty. So that is basically Sami Sena, and maybe you'll get to know me more as we continue. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Alejandro, who are you in a minute or so?
Okay, thank you very much for having me here. I'm Alejandro Achach, and let me begin by saying that first, you've acknowledged that you invited all of us. You've proved that you've invited all of us. But as you can see here, we are only 3 of us. This proves that only the 3 of us have the interest of the students at heart. Because once you have the interest of the students at heart, you are willing to sacrifice whatever you have so that you may deliver to the students. Back to my introduction. As for me, I have a rich background of leadership, and I take each responsibility role of leadership with the seriousness that it deserves. I won't fail to mention that I serve as a deputy captain in Maranda High School, because it was also a leadership opportunity that helped me to change the story of where I came from. Actually, I'm one person who believes in servant leadership and leaving the place that I pass better than I found it. So I'm here today running for the Congress Faculty of Health Science, and I believe the story won't change. There's no point in time I'm going to disregard this position. I'm going to hold it to the highest esteem regards that it deserves. And yes, I'm going to serve the people of Faculty of Health duly and diligently. Thank you.
Mr. James, just precisely, who are you?
Okay, thank you so much, Beluzi, for giving this an opportunity. I'm James Deritu Mwangi. At high school, I served as the school the halls captain. In the university, I'm the outgoing academic advisor. I'm a person who is ready to serve the people, who listens to the people, not ready to serve as the boss, but as a servant. Thank you.
Gentlemen, we are taking medicine, and we know it needs time. So, as a student leader or as an aspiring leader, how do you plan to juggle through academics and leadership and extracurricular activities?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I wish to reiterate and maybe to make it clear that we did it before, and we can still do it. When I was the Congress Riverview and Mamangina, and also when I was the CMF chairperson of the Faculty of Health Sciences, the responsibilities were there. And even in the midst of the responsibilities, I managed. And that's why even today, as I stand here to vie for the Faculty Congress, I'm very much aware and alive to the fact that the responsibilities that comes with the positions are not easy. But because I have a rich background of experience in leadership and also in education, I think it's an easy task for me. To me, I really don't think it's something major because I did it before and I still can do it. Yeah.
Mr. Alejandro, how are you going to juggle in between your professional life, your leadership life, and the extracurricular activities that you're going to take part in?
Okay, let me say I was born a leader. In our house, I'm the firstborn. So that one can just prove to you that leadership is not something new to me. And I'm also an academician. I've been a leader in high school. I was also a top performer, and that's why I'm taking medicine and surgery here at Egerton University, and I believe it's possible. There's nothing that is impossible. It just requires a proper balance of your time, and you know how to juggle the two. And it's something I'm going to work to ensure that both I achieve to my level best.
Straight to Mr. James. How are you going to do the same?
Okay, having served many positions starting from the primary school, being a leader is not something that it requires just cooperation with the people that you are ready to serve with, the people that you are ready to serve. Just cooperate with them, do what they want, listen to them, guide them. That's it. It's just that simple.
Straight to you, Mr. Sami. You were once in the council. You served as a Congress, Riverview and Mamangina. You are back on board and you're saying you want to take another course in the Congress science. Why didn't you retain the position, or why didn't you go for a higher position? Basically, why did you go for this position, the faculty?
Okay, thank you so much. Let me first answer the primary part of that question. Why did I not retain? I wish to remind, or maybe perhaps inform you that I'm currently from the town campus. I'm no longer in main Joro, so I cannot be a Congress Mamangina and Riverview while I'm away. I don't want to.
Maybe in the town camp, the upper NTCC hall.
Yes, sure. There are those positions for diaspora congresses, but I saw it that I achieved my agenda I had as a whole Congress. I achieved it, and I wanted a new challenge. I wanted to address the challenges that I saw in the faculty that were not addressed perhaps by the previous Congresses. And that's why I took up the challenge and I said, I'm not going to sit there as a leader. I'm not going to sit and see things go wrong while doing nothing. And I said, instead of going higher, you can't aim higher while you've not achieved the low achievement or the low goals. And I said, let me start by becoming the spokesperson of the faculty, put some things in line, and then afterward maybe we can see if the people approves me to move to a higher position, then so be it.
Okay, I'll take it immediately to Mr. James Nderitu. We'll go straight to the aspirations you have for the faculty. What are these aspirations, and what motivated you basically to vying for this position?
Okay, to start with, what motivated me, I have been observing these leaders who have been leading us, giving them name leaders because there lacks another name to give them. They have been trying to be messengers, not people who have been presenting what we give them. They have just been delivering the messages that they are given from the administration without even questioning how. They just sat down and said, no, this is not the way to go. We want leaders who represent people issues, not delivering the messages they are given, how they are, without questioning them.
And Kiongozi, how do you measure that the messages they are giving do not guarantee them being a leader?
Because being a leader, you just observe the people around them. The people mostly, giving an example where my opponent come from, town, people are complaining of many issues. This gives a direct information that the leaders, they just give the messages that they are given, but they don't represent the people.
So Kiongozi, there's a certain philosophy you use anyway to gauge. Mr. Alejandro, how did you take this? What motivated you?
Okay, first of all, let me begin by saying that in the country that we are in, and this time of civilization, it's going to be difficult for these gentlemen sitting with me at this podium, very difficult for them to clinch the seat more than I, who hasn't gotten a chance to serve the people. Why? Because I'm here, they're criticizing leaders, yet themselves they've served in leadership
what
position.
motivated you towards
Okay,
being
now
a leader?
let me say what motivated me to become to where I am. First of all, is I want to be a source of inspiration and motivation to the upcoming generation, because our country is here at crossroads because of the breed of leaders that you're having. I want to be that breed of leader that is alive to the issues affecting the common wananchi and the students at large, and I want to be someone who is going to be a change maker, and we're going to be change makers only if we sit at the leadership table. We usually say you cannot fight the system when you're standing or watching at a distance. You must be part of it, and that's why I'm aspiring to be in the leadership table so that I may be able to make decisions, that I may be able to represent my people. Thank you.
Okay, what about you, Mr. Sami? what motivated you towards being a leader ever since?
Okay. Thank you so much. I think I did answer this before, that I am being motivated by the challenges that are being faced by my people. And as a born leader, because I believe leadership is in me, leadership is in my heart, I couldn't just sit and watch my people suffering while I can be there to provide a solution to them. It's not necessarily that I must actually be with them, but I'm having people at the ground, and these people are saying, Dama, this and this and this is not going right. And as an experienced leader and as a seasoned leader, I've been let's say, for example, because in the last regime I was the Congress from Riverview and Mamangina, and we had a Congress of the Faculty of Health Sciences. But even though we had a leader who was supposed to represent the views and represent the voices of the people, he really, I can say he tried, but he never achieved the expectations. And those are the things I watched from afar. But my roles as the Halls Congress could not allow me, to jump into somebody else's role and start, talking. I wanted to stick to my people, and that's why even today, if you go to the residents of Riverview and Mamangina, they can tell you what I did when I was there, Congress. So what motivates me is the challenges that are being faced by my people. Yeah.
Viongozi, it's across. Everyone's talking about the challenges, plights, cries. Which are some of these challenges that maybe you've had, because you're saying you are with the ground and you know how the ground is? So, Kiongozi Sami, what are some of these challenges?
To be very honest, the challenges are there, and there are so many. And maybe to mention a few, we have academic challenges. And if I say academic challenges, it is something very broad that if I start speaking about it now, we may never finish this show. First of all, we have issues with improper communication between the administration and the student. We have situations where the administration make decisions without involving the students. We have challenges affecting maybe students in particularly where I come from in town. We have students being told that you must come with 4 boxes of gloves. Yet it is part of we've paid the school fees, and the school knew that we are transiting to town, we'll need those gloves, but they never provided. We have challenges where we are not having enough lecture halls. We have challenges. And there is a timetabling department in this school that does all that. So that's just about academic challenges. We have other challenges like social challenges. People are starving here. People are deferring because of lack of school fees. Whereas there are channels and there are opportunities we can link these people to, and people get helped. So those are the challenges that I'm here to address. Those are just but a brief of the challenges. There are so many of which, if you read closely through my manifesto, you'll be able to get a point. Yeah.
Mr. Alejandro, what are some of these challenges that you are stating you have had comrades face?
Okay, first of all, I've been a comrade. I've been in the ground. And
you are no longer a comrade?
No, I've said I've been a comrade to mean I've been in the ground.
Okay.
And I'm still a comrade. Yeah. I've been in the ground and I've experienced the problems real time. And that's why I saw it wise to look for this seat so that I may be able to address them. One, talking about academics, we have enhancement of academic resources. In my faculty, students are limited in terms of academic resources, one of which being books in the library, something that we need to address with urgency, because you come to realize that our library there is just for aesthetics. A medical student can't benefit fully from our library. Why? Because there are no physical books that are of use to our medical students. The books that are recommended to us by our lecturers are not the books that are there in the library. And that is something that we need to address with urgency, because you realize that all these 5 fingers are not of the same length or rather height. Why? To mean that not everyone here is of equal capability. Not everyone here is going to get a smartphone to access soft copy books. And that's why we are saying we're going to ensure that before the school administration procure books, they procure physical books that are of use to students, or that can supplement the soft copy books, so that they can assist the student who cannot afford smartphones to be precise. Secondly, we're also talking about Wi-Fi installation. It's something that should have been done as early as yesterday. When you get to our faculty, there's no Wi-Fi, and as well, medical students used soft copy books, and these soft copy books are very voluminous, and as a comrade cannot afford bundles each and every time to download those books. That's why we're saying it's also a priority area to ensure that our faculty has Wi-Fi installed so that students can access books. We're also talking about the latrines. Our situations there in our lavatories is very wanting. the health faculty is a faculty of health, but there's a paradox. We're having a faculty of health with unhealthy toilets. And that's something that is unexpected. Once you walk into that faculty, the situation in our toilets is very wanting. There's a problem of drainage, and that's something that should be addressed. And I really wonder why it hasn't been addressed. But once we get there, it's going to be our priority areas.
Kingozi, have you raised this issue to the authority?
Actually, we've tried to do some sensitization to our leaders, our class representatives, and I don't know where they've reached. There hasn't been a solid feedback, and that's why I want to be part of the table. I want to be part of the faculty board meeting so that we can ensure these problems that are bedeviling our faculty are solved with the urgency it requires. And that is why I'm here today, actually to articulate the problems of the people and to ensure that they may identify an ideal leader so that I may serve them.
Okay, Mr. Alejandro.
Okay, I've talked with the comrades, me being a comrade also, and they have explained to me, starting from the academics, the social problems they are facing, the extracurricular problems they are facing. To start with academics, they have told me they cannot access the revision materials, the halls are not enough, the areas of study, it is messy, starting with the floors, they look messy. It does not represent the doctors. You know, the doctor is someone who must be presentable. It does not represent the doctors, that faculty. And that's why I've said, when elected as a leader, I must ensure that faculty is look like the doctors. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take us straight to our manifestos, and I'll begin with you, Mr. James Nderitu. Your first manifesto, I believe, is your core manifesto. You have stipulated clearly that you want, or you going to ensure equal distribution of meal cards among the needy students in all departments in the faculty. Has there been a case in the past that this has not been happening?
Yeah, very many.
Perhaps, how did you solve, what initiatives did you take to combat this situation from happening once again?
Okay, talking with the previous leadership, I just communicated the issue. I didn't see any solid feedback, so I decided, let me take the initiative to vie as a leader and solve this problem, me, myself.
So how are you going to solve this problem?
Okay, I've set a team all across, starting with the nutritionists, nurses, the clinicians, the doctors. I have a team all across, starting with the representatives, a team that will ensure that I am able to identify the needy students, able to help them to get the meal cards.
Kiongozi James, still on you, on the issues of meal card. Do you know the procedure, or what makes you feel that there is an equal distribution of the meal cards in your faculty?
Okay.
What makes you feel?
What makes me feel? I just did a simple interview. I went to the mostly first years and second years. Most of them even don't know what's a meal card. I was shocked. A second year asking me what's a meal card. I was shocked.
But really, Kiongozi, I think maybe that should be either your duty to sensitize them, or on the same, or you have something, Mr.
Okay, let me articulate myself on the issues of meal cards and how it is bedeviling our faculty. The biggest issue of meal cards in our faculty is that our students have not been able to access the meal cards because the meal cards are usually issued during examination periods. But when you look at the Faculty of Health Science, the students are usually at home when other students are having their exams. And meal cards are usually issued once a year, and it's something that it should be addressed because the Faculty of Health Science students have been left behind. Only our food and nutrition counterparts have been benefiting from it because the examination calendar corresponds to the examination calendar of other faculties. So that is something that needs to be addressed. And secondly, the second challenge of the meal cards is that a meal card is 100 shillings. Like, it has a voucher of 100 shillings a day. And it's something that I've discussed with other leaders. And we are saying that we're going to see how we're going to bring partners on board so that we can raise this amount to at least 250 shillings so that a comrade can benefit. And as well as the issuance of the meal card, the students in the Faculty of Health can be included during the issuance of meal card.
So basically, Viongozi, the problem you are stating, we are going to get to Mr. Sami. You have served as in the council, and you know the process and the procedure. But before that, gentlemen, what if these students are the ones who don't apply for these meal cards? Are you still taking the blame on the other side?
Yeah, maybe they don't apply, but I also blame the leaders because they don't do the sensitization. Meaning that there must be something fishy going around.
Kiongozi, you've been a leader?
Yeah.
So you're also a part of that team that you are blaming?
But in my docket, I could not be able to do that.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sami, you're on your side. How does this go about, maybe in your faculty? Now that there is a controversy here, we have Mr. Alejandro stipulating that in the issues of meal cards, some part is at home and some part is in the institution.
Okay, thank you so much, Balozi. I wish to remind my colleagues here that before maybe we address a matter, make sure you have information about it. I served as a Congress, and I was part of that parliament of the past regime. And if we talk about matters meal card, do you even know the process of how these meal cards are procured? When I was seated here and I listened to my colleague, Dr. Riapa, saying that it should be raised to 250. First of all, do you know the budget of meal cards in an EUSA financial year? And maybe you'll not answer me now. Maybe you'll answer later.
Okay, you're protected.
Maybe to clarify to you, my people, is that if we take, for example, the last year's financial budget for EUSA, the meal cards was allocated 500,000 for the whole institution. And if you say 500,000, if you divide by 100 shillings, that comes close to around 5,000 students who are beneficiaries of this amount. Now, if we say we are going to raise a single meal card to 250 shillings, how many students are going to get that meal card? One thing. Another thing, today, if you say that maybe you are blaming the leaders, then of course you should blame your leaders, because these are the people who are not doing what they should do. Another thing, if you say...
Kiongozi, just before you just hold on before you take on. So which leader is in charge of this docket?
Yeah,
as per the EUSA constitution.
Yeah, as per the EUSA constitution and as per the regulation of the House, it is in charge of the Director Welfare, the Director Finance, and the faculty congresses, not halls congresses. So at least you guys are not going to blame me that I never brought you meal cards. I'm not in charge of it when I was the Congress. So maybe to clarify further, is that this amount, 500,000, maybe to give my point on that, my idea was this amount should be raised to about 800,000. By the way, in the previous regime, I was not directly involved in all these matters, but I caused a lot of chaos in the parliament because I was telling them it must be raised to about 800,000 shillings so that more students can benefit. Another thing, if my colleague here says that meal cards are issued when the Faculty of Health Sciences are not in session, let me ask you, because these meal cards are usually issued in two batches, that is in December and around May when the other faculties are having exams. Can I ask you one thing, Kiongozi? During this time, the students in the Faculty of Health Sciences, are they usually at school around the May period? One thing. Another thing is that if you say, maybe your point was partly right, because sometimes during when we are having our exams because we usually have our exams from August and September thereabout, but we honestly don't get these meal cards. And part of my manifesto, part of my plan, I don't even call it a manifesto, it is a mega plan, because it's something that I'm planning to execute in the Faculty of Health Sciences. It is to ensure that our faculty, it's better you don't give us for the rest part of the year, but that month of exams, let our meal card be consolidated. Let the Faculty of Health Sciences have their own independent budget. From the 500, if that's what will be allocated for the entire school, let's have at least 200,000 or 100,000 for the Faculty of Health Sciences student. Yeah.
So, Kiongozi, in your big 6 agendas, still on you, you talked about equitable resource sharing. Before we get to the others, can you expound on this?
Yeah, when I talk about equitable resource sharing, what informed this plan, or what informed this agenda, is the issue of meal cards, bursaries, and work study programs that are under the EUSA. And when I was serving as the Congress halls, and I witnessed all these inequalities and all this unfairness being done to my people, the Faculty of Health Sciences, and I said this will be one of my mega plan when I become the Congress, God willing, on 13th. First of all, I'm going to ensure, and I already said this, that I'm going to push a motion. In fact, the motion is already there. I'm just waiting for the Parliament to resume, and then I'll table it to ensure that the Faculty of Health Sciences are having their milk card money allocated independently, so that when we are having our exams, you can also be given milk card to support us during that period. Another thing is about the bursaries. Maybe for the benefit of my friends here, so that you don't talk out of rumors, as you talk out of facts, it is important for you to note that the allocation for bursaries in Egerton University Student Association, that is the EUSA, is a total of 1,200,000. That's 1.2 million. And this amount, if you try to see how it's being distributed, you'll realize that the Faculty of Health Sciences do not actually get what they're supposed to get. If you say we have 11 faculties in the university, and we are sharing this 1.2 million, then it means each faculty should get at least 100,000 plus on top. But if you try to see the amount of money allocated to the Faculty of Health Sciences, it's not even barely half of what they're supposed to get. So that's another thing that I'll make sure, because as a Congress, I'll sit in the table in the interview panel for the bursaries. I'll ensure that the Faculty of Health Sciences get their shares. If we say we have 1,000 opportunities, then let 120 opportunities goes to the Faculty of Health Sciences. Because we also have need. By the way, people think because the Faculty of Health Sciences are doctors, these people are bright, they think we are also rich. No, we also need those opportunities. And then thirdly, on the equitable resource sharing is about the work study program. These are opportunities that are there for the students to work for the school in a few things, and they get some stipend. But it is ironical that the Faculty of Health Sciences students are not getting this opportunity. For honestly, I can't even tell a student one who is working under the work study program. So those are the things I'm going to push for once I become the Congress.
Okay, we're getting to Mr. Alejandro. Mr. Alejandro, your first manifesto is inclusivity.
Sure.
And how are you going to... okay, in what aspect are you talking about inclusivity?
Okay, when I talk about inclusivity, I'm talking about a government that is student-based and is student-centered. What do I mean by that? I mean that my office is going to bring students on board. We are going to tag the students along so that we can ensure that all decisions that we are making are student-centered. That one we are going to achieve by ensuring we carry out polls, we carry out barazas, so that we can ensure we get the click of the situation on the ground, or hear or listen from the students of what they want. That's how we are going to ensure an inclusive government, so that each and every decision that the Congress is going to make in the Parliament is a decision that is of the interest of the student and the problem that is facing the students. And that's the pillar of my manifesto. That's why it's my #1 agenda.
Okay. Across, we have in your mega plan, Mr. Sami, you've talked about sports and talents. And Mr. Alejandro, you've also talked about fun activities, girl, child, day, and you've talked about boy and girl. And we're moving again to Mr. James, you've also talked of the same.
Yeah.
How are you planning to tackle this issue? And is there a problem with this issue at first?
Okay, the first thing, as my good friends here have said, the first thing about the issue with fun days is inclusivity. Mostly the student in the nutrition side, most of the time, you get that they are not presented very well in these activities. What I've said, me as James, when I get in the docket, I'll ensure in my fun days, I involve all the students' organizations, starting with the UNADSA, UNSA, CLIMSA, and the UMEDSA. Yeah.
And you've also talked about advocating and promoting unity between the EUNADSA, EUMEDSA, EUNSA, and CLIMSA, and ensure they correlate in catering for the welfare of the comrades. Is this relating to your answer?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Alejandro?
Okay, when you talk about sports, actually, the Faculty of Health Science, we usually have very rare sports activities. Actually, the time that I've been in my first year, the sporting activities that we've seen are the ones that are organized by UMEDSA. And that's why we're talking about coming up with the Congress-sponsored league, at least that we can have a league that runs for at least a semester or two, so that at least our boys are kept engaged, because many a times the doctors want to play, but they're only limited to play maybe interclass and all. but we are talking about coming up with a league that we are going to bring partners on board so that at least they can play for a goal, they can play for a prize. We're also talking about a Girl Child Day, something that was started by my predecessor, and it's something that we're going to make it become bigger this year's edition, and we're also going to include individuals. It's going to be an inclusive activity. Actually, the way my friend here said, it's usually kind of discriminatory because our friends or our colleagues from the food and nutrition department, they're usually kind of segregated from these fun day activities, but it's something that you're going to ensure that we bring them on board so that we can ensure that our government is an all-inclusive government.
Okay, Mr. Sami.
Yes.
What's your take on the same? You, in your the Big Six agendas, you have stipulated clearly that you want to engage in sports and talents development. How are you going to do this, and is there a loophole before that?
Okay, honestly, to be very sincere, the students in the Faculty of Health Sciences, I don't know whether they usually take education so seriously that they forget this other part of sports and talent. And as part of my my Big Four agenda, actually it is number 4 in the mega plan, is about promoting sports and talent. And this is something that I'm very, very, very serious about it, because it's one of the channels that we're also going to execute other agendas, including advocacy against drugs and substance abuse, which is becoming a menace in the entire faculty. So to be very precise, I don't know whether my friends really know, but I think they don't know, because for a better part of last year they were not in school, and even they can tell us if they voted last year. So what I'm trying to say is that if they say they have not been these activities, I want to disagree with you politely, but that these activities were there. If I don't know whether they can recall, but last year we had EUSA Fund Day. We had also the Faculty of Health Sciences Fund Day. We had Daktari Cup activities that are going on. I mean, competition. We actually go to up to KU. They come to us. We had actually several competitions that took place here, and over years it has been the norm. But because I've been here since 2019, so at least I've seen this thing happening. But maybe the way it has been happening is the problem, because most of these activities are usually being organized by the Union of Medical Student Association, which is the EUSA. And but as a Congress faculty, I represent everybody, including the people from EUSA, people from CLIMSA, EUNSA, and also UNADSA, our nutritionist. And as part of my agenda is to ensure that all these departments are involved in the activity, so that we can bring together everybody, and everybody feels that FHS is indeed their home. So part of my my plan is to ensure that I personally organize a faculty fun day, a faculty sports, and in fact, one of my plans is to ensure that we'll be having these regular tournaments, such that in each and every semester we'll have a tournament, and I'll be the person to look for resources. I'll be the person to fund all these tournaments. We have football, we have chess, we have indoor games, we have basketballs. You know, let's not just focus on football alone and forget these other talents. I'm talking about talents, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kiongozi Alejandro, do you have something maybe to add?
Okay. First of all, I think my fellow leader here can agree that the tournaments organized last time, they were limited. They did not reach the level at which you expect to be. And that's why we're going to make it better. Because when you talk about the EUSA Fund Day, it's usually a weekend-long tournament. When you talk of a Daktari Cup, a weekend-long tournament. When you talk of Fun Day activity, just from the name betrays them. A fun day activity, it's just a day. But now we are talking about coming up with somehow a league, because we've come and realized that our faculty, most students, just to be honest, they play football. And we're talking about coming up with a league that can at least run for a semester, if possible, or 2. That's what we are talking about, improving sports in our faculty. Yes, thank you.
Kiongozi, James?
Something to add on about what my good friends have said. They have discussed about the past, what have happened. And I have said that when you are going to hold these sports, it's not focusing on those football things. We are going to advance. That's why in my manifesto, Balozi, you can see there is a program that I have added called Scholars for Tomorrow. This is a program that will be holding these games like bike riding, rope skipping, to ensure that we involve girls, we involve the gentlemen, to ensure that we tied to the program, the Scholars for Tomorrow, we are able to raise the fees to the students. We are able to raise some funds to ensure that we are able to sponsor these games, that if it is the football games, the players can be praying for a prize. That is it.
Basically, we are moving on to the next manifestos, and Mr. Sam, you also talked about equitable resource sharing. And just a minute, just explain what you meant with this.
Okay, I think I mentioned this, I explained this. It's about the bursaries, it's about the meal cards, and it's about the work study opportunities. That's what I'm talking about, equitable resource sharing from the main kitty, the school EUSA kitty. Yeah, and maybe Balozi, there's something that I also had in my manifesto, unique, that my friends never heard about the MedFC. MedFC is a faculty-based sports club that participate in the Egerton Premier League. And as part of promoting talent and also sports, it is my commitment to ensure that that club receives my full support, receive all financing where possible, and also we nurture talents. Yeah.
Viongozi, as we head close to the break, just a slight break, Mr. Alejandro, as we're coming back, we're going to talk about your Manifesto 7, portal closure, and Manifesto 6, administration processes. That's all we're going to begin with. And Mr. James over there, we're also going to talk about organizing career talks for our comrades, and then cooperation with the faculty, ICT and library stakeholders to ensure Egerton University app is updated. This was a fruitful discussion. We're taking a break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we'll be answering your questions. You will be hearing their comments, and we'll proceed with the discussion. We're taking a short break. We'll be back.
I want to recommend very highly COILIB to every youth out there who has an idea that they want to bring on board. This is a place where you'll be incubated, so to say. You, irrespective of how rugged you feel your idea is, you come to this place, and we will continuously work on you to make sure that the idea that you have is refined, and at least you become the person.
COILIB Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
I can describe COILIB as a safe incubator. So I would encourage everyone to apply, and for sure, I'm certain your ideas will be in safe hands, and they will hatch successfully to better businesses.
COILIB Incuba. Innovate, invest, incubate.
We hustle.
We go through.
Access granted.
We win.
We lose.
Access denied. Access denied. Access denied.
In everything, we dust ourselves.
We are the majority.
You want to tell me just what we're dealing with here?
If you haven't guessed by now, I'll tell you who we are.
It's me. Hi. We are the empowered youth.
Underground.
And this is our podcast, the EUI Podcast.
Let the speakers move.
Go!
Welcome to COILIB. COILIB is a center of excellence for livestock innovation and business. One of its key activities is incubation. At COILIB Incuba, we nurture and grow businesses. One of its beneficiaries is Joko Mushrooms. Joko Mushrooms deals with the production and supply of mushrooms in Kenya. It also offers consultancy and training services to interested farmers. Participating in different shows help us to engage with farmers, to engage with our customers, to obtain feedback, to know what they want about the product. This helps us to do market comparisons that will help us in growing and increasing our production base.
What we do as SAINA is we provide dignified sanitation solutions to the physically challenged and the aged. And how we are doing this is by fabricating portable toilets that will ensure they get dignified sanitation and they get comfortable and hygienic sanitation. And through support from COELIP, we are able to attend such expos where we get the chance to interact with potential customers and stakeholders, and we get valuable customer feedback, and using this feedback we'll be able to improve our product and create different versions of our product.
Today, 10th of August, we are presenting a technology called Queen Bee technology. The purpose of that is to produce the queens that will be important in the propagation of bees in Kenya. Our main challenge here is we have hives that are not occupied.
Welcome back to the Youth and Leadership Show, and we are here with Mr. Sami, Mr. Alejandro, and Mr. James. And this is the final section of the show. We are going to answer the questions, and here basically also going to give you aspirations, your manifestos by yourselves. So straight to where we stopped, I'll take it first with Mr. Alejandro. Just take seconds, if you don't mind, with the issues we talked about, the portal closure and the administrative process.
Okay, let me talk about the admission process first. It's a recount or a collection of events during my day one in this school. And actually what I can say, the process was botched. There was no systematic process during the admission process. I got hold of a situation whereby I arrived in school earlier, but ended up being admitted the next day. Why? Because there were no proper sequence of admission that day. We came to realize that there are some students who came late, but they were admitted earlier. That's a problem of administration. We're talking about corruption and all. We're also talking about our parents. They were not treated properly. Why? When you compare with the admission of the law faculty that was just adjacent to ours, we came to realize that, or you could see and observe clearly, that their parents were accorded a comfort. They were given tents, they were given seats. Compared to our situation, it was very different. Our parents were left to sit under trees and all. And that's why I'm saying that as part or a member of the faculty board meeting, I'm going to ensure that the admission process of the faculty is seamless, is something that can be given example to other faculties. We are going to set an example on how admission processes should be run. We're going to ensure that the parents are treated properly and students are admitted in accordance to the time that they arrive. Secondly, on portal closure, we've come to realize, or it's been a problem whereby students are ended up being locked out of their portals before carrying out unit registration, accommodation registration, and all. That is something that it's a problem of administration, and most precisely to the Faculty of Health students. We're talking about faculty where students sit for the examinations once a year, not in each and every semester. At least there should be an allowance of the portal closure so that they can allow students at least to pay for their bills for accommodation, so that they can do their unit registration in time, so that they cannot be locked outside. Why? Because the unit registration has locked students outside, especially in my faculty, and they've ended up being discontinued because they cannot sit for the exams. So it's a matter that needs to be paid attention to, so that you can ensure that portals, at least they are given extension limits in our faculty, so that we can ensure students sit for the exams, and there's a proper running of the faculty.
Okay, we're getting back to you, Mr. James.
Okay, starting with the working with the faculty, or the library, and working with the ICT to ensure that the Egerton University app is fully updated talking to being an academic advisor and the outgoing one, I've talked with most of the first years and second years, and they have told me that they are not very able to assess the recent past papers. And I have said, when I get the docket, I'll ensure that I work with those departments to ensure that the Egerton University app is fully updated, to ensure that our students are very able to assess those revision materials.
Okay, we'll take at most 3 minutes to answer the questions from the audiences. The first question, they are general questions. Which criteria would aspirants use to fund the tournaments and other activities? We also have another one on the issue of the school ID. Why is it a big delay, almost 2 academic years in the Faculty of Health Sciences? How will the elected leaders go to incorporate all the departments in the faculty? How will the elected leader go to be different from the outgoing leaders? And how will there be a joint cooperation between the Joro campus and the town campus? Let's take that round in a minute each.
Thank you so much. Maybe let's start by your last question. How I'm going to incorporate or to ensure that the cooperation between the town campus and the Joro campus. And I wish to inform the audience that being a member from the town campus, I'm not there just by coincidence. I went through Joro campus and now I'm in town campus, and that tells you that at least I have a taste of life in Joro, and now I'm in town, so I understand both sides of the coin. So personally, I'm going to be the linkage between the 2 campuses, having gone through the processes. At least I understand the problems in town and I understand the problems in Joro firsthand, not kuambiwa. Like, you can say I have people in ground who will tell me, no, I'm the one in ground. Then maybe another thing on how we are going to fund, how personally I'm going to fund the sports, is that I have a rich network of friends. I've worked with many organizations. One of them is an international organization from the UK called the Evangelistic Medical Missions Abroad, and I've always been in contact with them. We've had so many engagement with them, and these are the people that I'm going to work with to fund my activities. These are the people I've approached. I've shared my interest with them, and they're ready to support me. We also have other organizations in town that have the same interest as us. Like, for example, how we funded this year's stethoscope ceremony in town. It was part of the contribution was from the students, and part of the contribution was from our friends and our sponsors. And then the second question was. Okay. And as you take the other questions, there's a question here. You understand that the Faculty of Health Sciences is diverse and consists of 4 departments. How do you aim to promote cohesion between the 4 departments without any form of neglect? And then we have the final question. Why? No, this one. You had a why should a leader move from one position to the other? I believe Mr. Sami had addressed that. Maybe the others will. And what makes the leaders think they'll be different from the previous leaders? Take maybe just a minute to answer 2 of the questions.
Okay, let me take the problem of the distance between Joro and town campuses. Actually, it's quite simple. I'm running from the Congress Faculty of Health from Joro. The office of the Dean Faculty is in town. I'm going to be the link between Joro and town. Secondly, the story of ID, that's a problem of administration that needs to be looked at and needs to be addressed with the seriousness that it deserves. As a leader in the parliament, I'm going to ensure that we push to come up or to see or to identify the problems that are making our IDs delay this much long. And we're going to ensure that our IDs, at least the timeline for students getting the IDs is reduced and students get the IDs in time.
Mr. James, answer any 2 final questions.
Okay, to start with, why the incoming leaders will be different from the outgoing leaders. First, for me, I will ensure that the leaders that me being the part of them that are coming in are leaders that listen to the people, not leaders that just delivers the messages as they are. They are not messengers, they are a representative. And that's why I've said, me as a leader, I'll ensure I listen to you, my people, if you give me the chance to serve you. The second...
Okay, yeah, the second one, sorry.
Okay. Another question that you have asked about the funding of the sports. I have said in my manifestos we have a program there, S40, that ensures that we raise funds from external sources, maybe involving holding of Harambes, to ensure that we get funds to raise this. Yeah.
Okay, we're moving to the final session, and we're going to give each and every one of us maximum 2 minutes to talk to their electorates, to the constituents. Tell us what you are going to do what you plan to do for your comrades, and give us your parting shots in that 2 minutes too. I'll take Mr. Sami first.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, esteemed comrades from the Faculty of Health Sciences, it's me again here, and I'm asking you guys to give me this job. You gave me the first one, I did it perfectly. Now give me this one and I'll do it even more perfectly. You know, I've always been in the forefront in fighting for the rights of the comrades. In fact, you can wake me, as long as it's a battle to fight for the rights of the comrades, you can even wake me up at 2 a.m. in the morning and I'll be there. In fact, yesterday, just the other day, we were going haywire in town, you know, for the release of the pending allocations of help. And my leadership and activism does not start just today. Just a few months ago, while my friends were at home sleeping or looking after their sheep, we were in the streets fighting for the posting of interns. You know, we were there and we were tear gassed. My friends here can attest to that. And we've always been there. And when I was a leader in the Christian Medical Fellowship, I also delivered. So leadership is not something new to me. It's only that I want to serve the people in the loopholes that I've identified so far.
The final remarks and what we'll do to them.
Yeah. So finally, ladies and gentlemen, I'll make sure that the voice of each and every one of us is heard, and that I'll be the leader that you've longed to have. Whatever my predecessors never did, I'm here to make sure things go right. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Alejandro, in 2 minutes, give us what you'll do and your parting shot to the electorates.
Okay, first of all, I felt like my friend here stepped on my toe so much, so just allow me to rebut. It's not accurate that you're at home sleeping or looking after sheep during the internship activism. That's not accurate unless you can substantiate. But I can prove to you that I was part of the process. Someone can get to my Twitter account. I was actively involved in online activism. And given the opportunity to get to the roads, I would have hit the roads. And I'm also an activist. And when you talk about in town, talking about help fund release, it's quite unfortunate that you got there, you got the opportunity, but instead of coming up with real-time solutions to the problem bedeviling the students, you ended up giving ultimatums, which is a choir that has always been there. Given the opportunity, as the activist that I am, I would have championed for resolutions. And what are the resolution? The problem of help delayance is not a problem that has begun yesterday. It's something that has been there over time. We should be championing.
Now your final remarks. Thank you.
Kindly let me complete this point.
The final remarks.
Okay. My final remark is this. Whatever one does, Abraham Lincoln, in his quote, he said that whatever one does, he should do it to his best. And that's why I'm here today. And I'm going to ensure that I subscribe to that philosophy of Abraham Lincoln and ensure that whatever I'm going to do to you, my faculty, esteemed faculty members, is going to be of the best of your interest, and I'm going to deliver. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. James.
To start with, when you're attacked, you must retaliate. I've heard my friend Senna here talking about what you have done, just doing the cloud chasing and says what he gives. You know, when you become a leader, you must give long-lasting decisions, long-lasting things that will make sure that this happens. Instead of addressing the health issues as it is supposed to be, like making like long-lasting decisions, he just gave 12 hours ultimatum.
Gentlemen, it's not taking sides or anything per sort, but I don't believe help was in any of our manifestos. It's time for the parting shot, gentlemen.
Okay, he just brought it in the discussion, and I must address it because he attacked.
There was no name calling. Your parting shot.
Let me cut it short. Okay, to me, my voters out there, my supporters, I'm ready to serve you. I'll ensure that I listen to you, I deliver. And you know, this is that in the comrades' wisdom, they say, no matter how handsome you are, you cannot seduce your mother. I've listened to these people. They are not ready to serve you. I am.
Okay, finally, as we come close to the show, I'm going to take strictly a second or so, because the look seems like there's still words in their eyes. And I'll just start from Mr. Senna, the final word. Kindly.
Okay, because now these guys have opened a battlefront, and I was not here for that. I was here to execute my agenda and to explain. So I don't want even to respond to them, because I can see now their agenda is me. I'm their agenda. So you see, these guys, they're already feeling the heat. So I don't want to.
The parting shot.
So finally, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to work. We are not here for anything. We are not here for cloud chasing. We are not here to give, to speak all the English we know. No, we are here for work. We are here for serious work. And I want to tell my supporters kwamba tuko imara, hatutishwi na hatutishiki. Ndama is the bet for Ndama, bet for future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Okay, to cut it short, what I have to tell my people, I'm ready to work for you. I'm ready to step out and listen to you, and that is it.
Thank you, Mr. Alejandro, finally.
Okay, thank you. So, to my people, you know what we stand for. You know what I stand for. You know our manifesto. It's not a manifesto that's not only going to bring change, but it's a manifesto that's going to give to life a brighter future and a prosperous Faculty of Health Science. Kindly consider me, kindly vote me as your faculty congress, so that you can ensure we get the faculty to the level best that it deserves to be. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we come close to the end of the show, I want to take this time again to thank you, Mr. Sami. Thank you for making time again. Mr. Alejandro, thank you for making time for this show. Mr. James, thank you for making time too. And basically, this has been a very fruitful discussion, and I believe we have engaged with our electorates, our supporters, and we've engaged even with our electorates. And basically, I want to thank us for making this day a success. And all the best, gentlemen. May the best take the day. To the ladies and gentlemen, thank you for always being with us. Thank you for subscribing to our show. And for the cameramen, the producers, the directors behind the scene to make this show a success, thank you very much. Till next time, I was your host, Dickens. Bye.